You are really ugly, but your brand doesn't have to be.
Right.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Storyseller Jet with another episode of the That's So Fire talk show right now. And today I'm bringing back my friend Vega in the show to talk about branding. Like we were just chatting a little bit, and I was like,
Right.
okay, man, let's do a podcast.
Let's run it
You've
back.
launched your book since the last time we did the show. We've done so many different amazing things. Why not come on the show and talk about them? Let's go, baby. What's going on, Vega?
What's going on, my brother? How you doing?
Doing
Thank you
awesome,
for
man.
having me back.
Welcome,
That's so
welcome
fire.
back. That's so
There
fire.
you go.
For anybody that is tuning in right now that do not know who Visionary Vega is,
Yeah.
would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, quick rundown. Visionary Vega. I am owner and founder of 11 Agency here in the Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's go-to branding agency. I'm a branding consultant and strategist. Been in the game for 11 plus years now. I like to say 10, but it's like 11 going on 12 years now. Represented multiple 8 figures in brands, a billion plus impressions for our clients. Done a lot of great things, but what we've truly found ourselves doing lately is helping people find the value and the uniqueness within their own story. So-
Absolutely. I think you are going to your golden years now, like
think
11, 11,
Oh,
11.
I didn't even think about that. 11 years there. You know what? That might be something special. I think something special is coming for 2026 for our 11th year in business. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Super excited to welcome you back. But
Thank
today we're going to make this sweet and quick.
Absolutely.
You've launched this fantastic, beautiful book. It's called Ugly is in Your DNA. So we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about a couple other things that you have recently done that were fantastic. So and we'll talk about a little bit of branding.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Good. So why did you decide to write this book?
Yeah. I think that book was compiled of a lot of experiences over I guess the 10, 11 years, right? And consistently what I would see is every time somebody would walk into our office, they would all do something very similar, right? And we would hit a similar roadblock or a bottleneck. Is they would spend so much time trying to create the perfect brand, right? They'd come in and point out everything that they hated about themselves. So I want to look like this, and I want to sound like this, and I want to look like Jet, but I want to talk like Vega, and I want to do this, and I want my video to be like this. And they try to create a brand rather than discover the brand that was within themselves, right? So that was a big thing. I'm like, you know what? Not enough people truly value and understand who they are and what they have to offer with their story. And that's what branding is. Branding is your story. Marketing is how you tell it. So we wanted to find a way to help people identify that, hey, you don't have to be, what is the value in your story? You don't have to be perfect. The beauty is within the imperfections, right? So imperfections people naturally think are ugly. Well, one of the biggest things that we've seen is most people, when they were coming across their audience, the way that they would show up would be very ugly. And they were wondering why their brand wasn't converting. But not in a sense of like just an aesthetic, the way that they look. They were ugly because they were unclear with their message. They were greedy with their ask. They expected more from their audience than the value that they actually returned to them, right? They lack consistency. So they'd show up a little bit here and there, but then they die out. And then why? They weren't present. It's you. You're not there. And they would not be present while communicating with their audience. They're just waiting for, how do I say this so that they can say the next step and I can give them my pitch? And when I started to realize, like, okay, there's a consistent pattern happening here. Let's help people identify that they no longer have to be ugly. They can start to change things and become attractive. And attractiveness pulls people towards you rather than you having to go out and hunt them for them.
Absolutely. That's so true and so powerful. I like to tell people that 80% done is 100% better than not putting anything out there.
Absolutely, yeah.
So 80% done and posted is 100% better than not doing anything at all. So that's so true and so incredible that you are incorporating that in there, that you do not need to wait for perfection, that you can use that. And that's actually how a lot of people connect with you to on a more human level.
Absolutely.
Because if you're trying to be too perfect, like that's why we are dealing right now with trust recession, because people are just kind of putting a facade out there. You cannot trust anybody in the types of content that they're putting. But if you're taking that step and sharing like the true you and not trying to copy too many people, it's better that way.
Yeah. I mean, and it's funny enough, like you'll notice it actually converts at a higher ratio when you put out organic, just raw content where you're stumbling, you might mess up and okay, I'm not going to cut that out, or even just your cell phone video as opposed, it's good to have a balance. Obviously a beautiful studio like this, it truly elevates your brand, but having that balance in within your content catalog and some videos where you're just organically on your phone, like, hey, look, this is me. I'm not trying to make everything sound perfect. Those usually will resonate a little bit further with your audience, especially on the starting phases to build that trust. Because if you instantly just go straight to, I'm only going to do high-end production content, there's a disconnect between you and your audience. Like you said, people want to connect on a one-on-one level, right? And that's what, the DNA portion of Ugly's in your DNA, that's where it comes into. It's humanizing a brand. We all have DNA. That's what makes us who we are. Your brand can have DNA as well, and you can create a persona around your brand and humanize it so they connect on a one-on-one humanized level.
Yeah. So you called your book "Ugly is in Your DNA." Does DNA stand for something?
Absolutely. Yeah. So another acronym, right? So DNA stands for design, narration, and association. Right. Design, a lot of times when people think of a brand, they think of just the aesthetic aspect of it, right? My logo, my color palettes, typography, so forth. Yes, you want to design the aesthetic, but you also want to design the experience, the customer journey. What does that flow look like from cold prospect, never hearing of you, to coming in contact, the discovery phase, all the way down through close and then post purchase? What does it look like? You want to design that entire experience. So not just how your brand looks, but how it feels. Narration is the story you tell about yourself and the story that someone else is going to tell about you. How good and how clear you define your story is going to determine how clear someone else can speak on your behalf and become an ambassador of your brand, right? You also see things like PR, that comes into play with your verbal identity, which is your narration. And then the last one's A, association. Who and what is associated with your brand? Your accolades, your achievements, the years of experience, right? What do your testimonials look like? What does your case studies look like? Your portfolio, so forth.
Yeah. So if somebody's thinking about creating a brand, what is the very first thing that they should do?
Right. The very first thing that they should do is, before trying to get in the studio, trying to turn on the camera, trying to do any of that, you truly have to understand who you are and what is the purpose of the brand you're creating. I know that sounds cliche of like who you are, what do you do, who you do it for, but most people skip that stuff. And that's one of the most important assets because that's the easiest way to lose yourself. You hear these brand experts talking about, well, all branding is getting somebody to know, like, and trust you. Well, the majority of people don't even know, like, and trust themselves. They look in the mirror and they try to change 90% of what they see. So I would say truly look in the mirror, or not necessarily look in a real mirror, right? But sit down and really try to define who you are as a person. What makes you you? What are your values? What do you represent? What do you stand for? And if you're not going to be a front face CEO where you're the actual face to represent the business, create a persona around your brand and around your business. If your brand was a person, who is that person? What does it look like? What does he dress like? How does he act? How does he talk? What are his values? And then create that persona around there so that way everything else you create from that point on aligns with that identity you created, that persona.
Absolutely. You talk a lot of the times about the Miyagi effect. Can you share a little bit about what that is and how is that so important as it relates to branding?
Yeah, I joke. I call it the Mr. Miyagi effect. That's what I nicknamed the verbal identity, right? Because a lot of times people come in and again they get excited about what they hear and what they see. Oh my, we're next. We're working now, so our brand's gonna blow up. We're gonna get this many impressions or views and so forth. And they instantly want to go in front of, like, they want the visual aspect. They want to do content. They want to get their photo shoot done. They want to have all these things done. But they get upset when they're like, why are we spending so much time on verbal identity? What does this have to do with my brand, right? What is my values, my mission statement, all these things? And I call it the Mr. Miyagi effect because it's that wax on, wax off. When are you going to teach me karate? Next thing you know, you don't even realize you're blocking punches. Like, they want to jump so fast to the other aspects or the visual representation of their brand, and they don't realize that truly what's going to make that effective and what's going to make people resonate with those things are those guidelines that you set up in the beginning, that foundation based off your verbal identity of who you actually are.
Yeah. So you talk about the three different identity. Can you share a little bit about what those are and why they're so important?
Man, you've been paying attention. You must have read the book, man. You got it all down pat. Yeah.
Let's go. Ugly in your DNA.
Yeah, and it's all in there. We map it out. We put our cards on the table so that you can understand, right? So what you mentioned is actually what we call the identity matrix. All right. So again, when most people think about branding, they're thinking about either one or maybe two of the core identities. They'll think of the visual identity, which is your logo, color palettes, the aesthetic, so forth. Next, people tend to start kind of put their foot in the water a little bit with the value identity. That's where your content lies in your catalog, your offerings, your opt-ins, your courses, all the stuff that you're going to add as value to your market. And then there's the verbal identity, which is what I say, and that's where your story lies. A lot of the PR, the press releases, When someone asks for your bio, how many times have you ever asked somebody, "Hey, you're gonna be on the show. Can you send me your bio?" And they're like, I don't know. Like, they don't know it. They don't know who they are. They don't know how to describe or explain to someone. So if you don't know how to explain that, it's going to be really confusing for somebody else to be able to understand who you are and self-qualify themselves as your client.
Absolutely love it, man.
So visual, verbal, value-based identity. Those three are your identity matrix.
I love it. I love it. So when somebody creates their brand, what does that do for them? Like, why is it so important to create a brand instead of like, starting to do business without like building a brand?
Yeah. I mean, more importantly is understanding the first brand that you should ever focus on is your personal brand, right? Who you are as a person, whether you have a business, whether you're an entrepreneur right now, like currently running, or you're planning on being an entrepreneur, who you are as a person, how you carry yourself when you walk into a room is a brand off rip. Everyone has one. And it's important to focus on it because truly, a brand is the endless. It's the single highest return on investment that you can put into, because it really aligns your audience or your core demographic that you're actually trying to sell to, or you have value to add to. It aligns you with them and helps them understand that you're the person that has the solution to whatever problem that they may have. And it gives you that exposure, that audience that, for decades, companies have paid millions of dollars to reach. It gives you that same amount of exposure just by turning on the phone and staying true to who you are and being clear with who you are.
Yeah. Which one is the most important, personal brand or business brand?
I think they're both important, but I mean, nothing tops a personal brand, right? Because a business brand, you can attach it, but if your whole life is built around, whatever your business is, let's say you were Jet the builder or something, right? And you built your entire brand around the construction company owner, the builder, or Jet the studio owner. Everything's around the studio. And then you wake up one day and you say, well, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to do something else. But now everything that you've built, every asset that has added a point to your brand equity has been only towards the studio. Now you're stuck in that box, right? Whereas a personal brand, you can take that somewhere, right? Let's say you're an insurance agent. That's a big thing's popping off, or solar person, or sales representative, or coach, and you're working with an organization right now, but all you do is pour into that business brand. When you go to leave, you lose all of that brand equity. But when you build a personal brand, no one can ever take that away from you. It's your face, it's who you are, it's the value that you add to a market, and it's how you carry yourself. So you can move that in different areas. Another reason why I say personal brand is very valuable in a sense is because, like in the book, right, with DNA, it's what we call our proprietary frameworks, is what we call brand genetics. When you build a personal brand, you become the top of that family tree, or the start of that genetic line, right? The DNA starts from you. So you have kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've met my daughter several times. Your kids may look like you, sound like you. Sometimes your kids may even talk like you or stand like you, but they're still their own person, right? Well, now when you build your personal brand and you're the top of the genetic line, each one of your offerings or business will carry the same DNA. So they'll look like you, feel like you, sound like you. So it still holds value to who you are in your personal brand, right? Borrowed credibility from each other, but they're still their own asset. So those become like your kids, your downline, the family tree. And you're never tied or trapped into a box. Your value can be spread anywhere that you choose to invest in it.
Yeah. You talk a lot about unlocking your core identity. So how do you unlock your core identity?
How do you unlock your core identity? Now that's a loaded question there, right? In simplest sense, it really starts back to, just kind of bring it back full circle. What we were just saying in the beginning is you have to sit down and really truly audit and assess who you are and the purpose of your business, right? We're creating what's called your fingerprint, or your unique identifier. Who you are, what you do, who you do it for, how you do it differently, and why you do it. Answer those questions, and you're going to start to get a clearer picture on really the direction and the purpose that you're building out the brand, right? Then dive a little bit deeper. What is your mission? What is your vision? What are your core values, right? What does your voice sound like? Because just as important as what you say, how you say it can be important, right? Tone. There's so many different things. I mean, you can spend hours. On average, we sit down with our clients when we do that initial discovery phase, that audit and assessment. It can be 2 to 2.5 hours just asking all of these deep dive questions so that we understand who you are, building out your client persona, right? From there, you build your brand persona. From there, you build out a client persona. If you know who you are, now the next important thing is to understand who you're going to speak to. Because if you know who you're talking to, it becomes easier to speak to that person. What tone do I have to do it? What delivery, so forth. And understanding those core components. who you are, who you're going to speak to, what value you're adding, and then looking at the comparatives in the market. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? I don't say competition because no one's your competition. When you carve out your own lane and you're truly standing in the truth of who you are, it's gonna be easy to identify you and separate you from everyone else. But when you understand who your market is, you're able to run SWOT analysis against them, understand their strengths, their weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in the market. And all of these different things that seem like, back end, tedious, why am I doing all this research and development? That's what's going to allow you to find that core identity of who you are and present yourself in the brightest light for it.
Fantastic. Yeah, this book is super fantastic. And if you're just tuning this on the show today, we are now chatting a little bit about the book that Vega created, which is Ugly is in Your DNA. So I would highly encourage you guys to get yourself a copy. Incredible, like the way that he created it. So good.
Yeah. We wanted to make it easy to digest. A lot of times you pick up these books and everybody, they want to confuse you with all this terminology that you don't understand. They're using inside lingo on outside folks, right? They're trying to show you that they know what they're talking about. But what good is if you have frameworks that no one understands how to implement in their life? So one thing we wanted to do and really put into this book is make it easy to digest, easy to understand, and easy to implement into your own brand and use it as a roadmap, as a guidance.
Yeah. So now that you've created your brand, how do you incorporate that into like content, for example, like social media content, and making sure that, that still reflect that message that you're trying to put out there?
Yeah. How do I personally? You're asking just in general.
And then we can probably do like one that is direct to you. How do you do it?
Yeah. I mean, once you set those guidelines, right, it helps you so that you're not veering off, right? I don't look at your content and say, whoa, that was cool what Jet's doing. Now I'm going to go copy it, right? If it's not in alignment with my identity that I've mapped out, those guidelines, I'm not going to do it. Another big thing is once I've created my brand persona, right, or the identity I create, and I understand who I'm reaching out, the specific demographic, there's different outlets that you can use online, right? So, a simple one that everybody can look up today is something called like Answer the Public, right? And based off of who you're trying to speak to, you can find keywords that specific demographic, based off your offering and who they are, might be searching online. And then it'll give you all these data points of exact topics that people want to know in reference to your business. Now, obviously, as much as we would want to wish that common sense is common, it's not. People search a lot of silly stuff sometimes, but you're going to find relevant data points. So that way you skip past just the content ideation phase. I wonder if they're going to like this. I wonder if they're going to like that. You know what your audience wants to hear already. And this is, obviously there's many more sites that we could probably put, for time's sake, we can put down in the description. But you can start to do a little bit more research and making sure that everything that you put out is relevant to who you are, who you're speaking to. And then you give it the twist. You give it your voice. Make sure that sounds like you, not the ChatGPT, not the M- killer over there.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that you have a proprietary. I can never pronounce that word.
Proprietary.
Proprietary.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about some of the ways? Obviously, don't divulge all of the secrets here. What are some of the things that make your process unique versus any other people out there that are doing branding?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot. I mean, especially in today's day and age, there's tons of creators. There's many agencies out there, and a lot of people are doing amazing things. But what's this?
Me making that face, I know my brother is gonna make fun of me later.
Yo, don't make me laugh, because if you start smirking, I'm gonna laugh. I even lost my train of thought. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I think, no, like I was saying, there's I think where I was going was there's many agencies, right? There's a lot of people that are doing great things with brand, right? But I know. Really, man, stop smirking at me. Hold on.
I don't know. I think we might have to end the talk show right now,
good,
because I'm gonna be like laughing for the rest of the time.
This is perfect. I think, now you got me keep on saying I think, right? No, this is funny because this really, a lot of times, this is what people would cut out.
Yeah, that's the best part of it.
Usually when people see a podcast, they only see the perfection of it, right? Everything's perfectly snipped. Everybody hits you with that perfect Instagrammable reel. Like, I got my perfect quote, but you missed this, the true connection. So yeah, that's cool. Hopefully you don't do any more smirking so you don't make me laugh.
I'm just going to turn back.
Yeah, just turn that way.
Man,
you made me lose my train of thought. No, okay, that's what I was doing.
Yeah,
so the proprietary frameworks.
Yeah,
it's really just comes down to make it simple. It comes down to like the alignment and the guidance, right? The structure. This guy, man.
Oh my God.
And then you keep going like this, so putting your finger through the glass. Okay, we're good.
All right, we're good. We're good.
All right, we're gonna bring it back. All right.
Yeah.
So, you sure we're fine?
We're
All
fine.
right.
We're fine.
Yeah. So the framework's really to help to keep you in alignment. Bro, Jet, what are you doing, bro?
Oh man.
No, this is good. Keep this. I want this in my entire interview. Don't cut this out. I'm literally crying right now.
Oh my goodness.
I'm trying to hold it together, right? There we go. All right, I'm just gonna make it simple so we can skip past this question. It's the alignment, the guidance, and the structure that help to make it a duplicatable process, right? You know, because it's not about doing something one time. It's about consistency, right?
Yeah. I'm crying over here too, bro. This is so
I'm
good.
trying to pull it together here, but you're distracting me. It's about the consistency of doing things, you know, over time, right? So there's a lot of people that go viral, and unfortunately, they'll jump in a position and go, okay, well, since I've gotten 1 million views or 1 million followers, so forth, I'm in a position to be the guru and tell you how to get 1 million. But there's a bunch of people those same people that have 1 million followers, if it come down to it, and it's not to knock anyone, but if they had to do it again, they don't know how, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's by chance, sometimes by luck, sometimes just consistency and just the grit and going through it. But when you put certain frameworks in line and you say, okay, well, now we can look at this like a checklist, right? And this is not, hey, I'm guessing or theory. This is something that over, you know, this book, we took 10 years, right? Not 10 years to write the book, but of learning lessons, right? Before going out there and saying, I'm a guru, I'm going to show you how to do this. I wanted hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of trial and error to say, okay, this is no longer theory. This is actually a proven process that if you check these things off, right? I look at things, okay, rather than branding, I'm not going to go on Canva and create some docs that look cool. I'm not going to just do a logo, but okay, if I create my visual identity, right? I design the aesthetic, I design the experience from start to finish. All right, if I know what else do I have to do. Once I map out the way things look, how does things sound? What do I represent? What do I offer, right? How can other people tell this on my behalf? So this comes into like PR, and okay, well, if I'm going to do PR, what does my backstory look like? What does my bio look like? What does my mission statement look like? Like, can someone speak on my behalf, right? If I ask you about Nike, you might not be able to tell me everything word for word as it is in their official corporate documents, but you can more or less, you can tell me what the brand represents, who they are, you know, who is their core demographic or their avatar of what they represent. So all of those things, you know, just in short, so we don't bust out into another, you know, laughing session over here. You know, this is over time. These frameworks allow you to have a duplicatable process that you can over and over and over again check off the boxes and see the results, right? Because in your brand will stay the same, but your marketing may change. You may do multiple different campaigns, but you have to make sure that you're in alignment.
Yeah, your brand may stay the same, but your marketing might change.
Yeah.
That was deep over here. But you touched on something that is actually very important, and I don't want to gloss over that. Is obviously this is probably one of the reason why we are in a trust recession, because a lot of people, they kind of put themselves on a pedestal. Hey, I am the guru, I'm the man, like, you know, please follow me. Right. But like when you're actually building your personal branding to incorporate like those like moments in there, like a vulnerability of kind of doing a lot of stuff like that. I call that a magnetic authority. Like, you know, once you do that, you are not like repelling people. You're basically like bringing them to you.
You stop being ugly. You start being attractive.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Stop being ugly and stop being attractive.
People can read through it, right? You can only fake the funk so long, right? If I get in front of a camera and nobody's here with me, no one really knows that I'm reading a teleprompter, or no one knows if it's ChatGPT, or, you know, so forth. I can mess up and I can remove all my mess ups, but on a humanized level, right? When you walk into an event, when you walk into a room, when you get somebody on a podcast, it's a little bit harder to fake the funk, right? I don't have GPT in my ear telling me what to do, right? So when you do that with your brand, when you humanize it, you allow people to connect into it. People buy into you before they buy into your product or service.
That's the most important thing.
So being yourself, what it does is it knocks down that guard that people have, and they go, okay, you know what? Maybe I could trust this guy a little bit more. I like him. He's not perfect, but he's cool.
Yeah.
Right. So when you start to do that, people just the familiarity of who you are, even if it's not you directly, but the familiarity that they feel with the brand, that connection that on a humanized level allows them to build a little bit more trust, which allows them to then move into the next phase, which is know and like you, right? They'll get to know you, and then they'll determine if they like you or not.
Yeah. So you just touched on something that
The marketing.
was that?
The marketing situation?
No, I was something else.
I do want to go back
just
to that though, because I think that's important to give them value on that sauce before we jump over.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So I guess like we start by saying, what is the biggest differentiation between branding and marketing? Because I feel like a lot of people, that's the main mistakes that they make. They think that they're the exact same thing.
Yeah. I mean, they are co-parts, right? It's like peanut butter and jelly. They go together. It's the perfect marriage, but they are different. The simplest way that I've broken it down for years, and the easiest way to understand, is branding's your story and marketing is how you tell that story, right? So as long as the story stays the same, how you tell it can change, right? And who you're telling it to, right? If I'm telling a story to my daughter, if I'm explaining who Jet is as a person to my daughter, it might be different than if I'm explaining it to my business partner, right? So the easiest way that you can think on the differentiating side of marketing and brand, right? It's like if I bring you to my family reunion and I go, okay, this is my Uncle Joe. Joe's the comedian in the family. He's hilarious, right? And this is my Uncle Tom. Tom's the gangster. Don't mess with him. He's the one that doesn't play any games, right? That's their brand. The comedian, the gangster, right? The story that I tell you, which is the marketing campaign, could be different. I can tell you a story, a funny story, kind of when we were when I was in high school. You know, Joe came and picked me up, and so happened. Ha ha ha. We laugh about it as a story. Or I can tell you a story about when we went somewhere, right? Or I can tell you a million different stories on why he's the bad one, he's the funny one. As long as their brand stays the same, the marketing can change. How you tell a story and what story you tell can change as many times as you want, but it leads back to the same brand of who they are.
Yeah.
So that's the easiest way to define.
Yeah. Going back to a conversation that we've had maybe yesterday or a couple of days ago about marketing.
Yeah.
What do you think is working the best right now around marketing? We talked about like email, we talked about texting, we talked about the other, like a bunch of other things, but there is something that you shared about the event that you just put on that was fantastic, that you got a bunch of like results from. Yeah. This is kind of where I'm headed with that.
Gotcha.
So what do you think is working the best right now in marketing?
Yeah. I mean, I stay true to who I am, right? I'm a brand consultant. I'm in branding, right? So I don't try to put too much insight or on the aspect of marketing. I wouldn't say it's the absolute best, but I think when you think of things in reference to like, everybody's like, hey, you got to email the list. What we found that has worked, and obviously, as you've seen, we had an amazing event recently, and we didn't even make it. Funny enough, we were so busy and there was so many things behind the scenes going on. We didn't even make it to email blast our entire list. What we actually seen a very high conversion at was in SMS and texting them. And I mean, you think about it, how many emails do you get on an average? You know, it's just saturated, your box is full, and you're like, what is going on here? But your text message, you look at it, you go, well, who the heck is texting me? Let me look at it. Yes, that's something that helped us, tremendously when it came to selling out an event in a week's time. And we were like, how are we going to make this happen? Getting their phone numbers and actually just sending them a text, it was amazing.
Yeah. How did you acquire their phone numbers in the first place?
Oh, you asking for the sauce here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Through Posh. So my business partner, when it comes to the events, Caesar, he does an amazing job. He's direct ambassador with Posh. So he's really familiar with the platform. And it's exclusivity factor also, right? The event was growing very, very quickly on its own, to the point at one point, the original venue that we had, we sold out almost instantly before we even put out the official promo video. So we started to slow down the registration, the RSVPs, and on the front end of Posh, you had to qualify. You could apply to come to the event, but before you could buy a ticket, you had to tell us your Instagram, you had to tell us, your industry, what are you looking to do with your brand, all of these different things. You can create a little questionnaire. And as part of that, being that they connect their app with their phone number, when someone purchased a ticket, we got their email and their phone number.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So why did you decide to put the brand social event?
The brand social event. Why did I decide this one, or just in general? Because this is actually, a lot of people don't know, this is like the 5th one. It really like popped this time. It really, really went all out. But they've been going well. I mean, this is about the 5th one, like I was saying. And we've been doing them for several years. Transparently, what it really started as, and this is being real, you know, in business, a lot of people will hate to say it, right? Or they deny the fact that all businesses, they tend to have
Ups and
their ups
down.
and downs, right? And in just full transparency, it came during a time where we were having a down. You know, it was kind of slow. And I'm like, what can we do to get more people in the room and understand the value that we add as an agency, right? How can we get them, rather than just to like hear about what a brand can do for them, but experience what an agency can do for them, right? And that's what we do with brands. When we work with some of these bigger brands, we don't create events, we create brand activations where, rather than me telling you about this brand, let me help you experience it. So I was like, well, why don't we do a brand activation for ourselves as an agency? And then while we're at it, if the biggest gap that we're hearing when most people don't have money, but our network, we have amazing investors. There's, you know, venture capitalists in our network. There's just so many people with money, and then so many people with creativity, and they're lacking each other. Why don't we create a space that is neutral, right? We bridge the gap between the two, and we create an environment, as opposed to like a normal networking event where it's awkward to speak to someone. You don't really know how to start the conversation. Sometimes it's cliquish, right? There's hidden agendas. They're there to sell you something. Why don't we just create a neutralized, you know, playing field, essentially, right? That sparks creativity, sparks conversation. You know, we have artists, live artists, we have music going on, we have all these different things going on. You never know who you're standing next to. You guys can be vibing out with the music, and next thing you know, you start talking, and that can be the investor to help level up your brand to the next level. That's what the concept was, and that actually ended up happening. You know, the first one we had about 175 people there. The next one we had like 225. The next one we had 275. I think it was like the third event. They actually came back and like 3 months later and told me one of the attendees found the investor for their company, and like less than 6 months later, they made multiple six, maybe even seven figures together.
Wow,
And I was
incredible.
like, this is you know, this is valuable. And people kept messaging us, Vega, can you do another one? Can you do another one? I'm like, I'm not an event company. Like, hold on, but if this makes sense, let's see where we can take it. Which led us to this last one, which we just did, and we had about, I think it was like 400 people there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. That was the first time that I went to one of them, and the people that were attending were fantastic. I got the opportunity to interview a bunch of those people
Yeah,
in
you didn't
there.
just go. You created an activation that people were raving about. I mean, I'm still getting DMs about you, so it was great, great experience
Yeah,
that you provided.
it was awesome. Great to meet a bunch of other people, and still need to connect to a few people that we chat that I got the opportunity to chat with. But it was an incredible event. So really great job, man. That
Thank
was
you, thank you.
awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, what the beauty of those type of events, or the brand social specifically, even just with how you collaborated with us on there, like, okay, many people, you know, they might not be able to drive instantly over here just to take a look at the studio, drive, you know, here and walk through the room, but they got to feel what it's like to work with Evotion. And rather than me just telling about it, or rather having a sponsor pop up a banner, you know, we gave them a bit of an insight, or a chance, a tangible aspect or experience for them to, you know, relate with.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going for another laughing
No, no,
segment,
no,
man. No.
no more
Yeah.
laughing. You might. I completely forgot about it.
Okay.
Now
No, no,
that
no,
you
no, no,
say
no, no.
that,
Bring it back. Bring it
bring
back.
it back.
Okay.
Let's reel it back.
Okay.
Yeah, that was an incredible. When do you think you're gonna have the next one?
Soon, very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, again, we were doing them once, maybe twice a year, and I'm gonna give you a little bit of the insight. As of this moment, we're planning on at least one per quarter. So
Cool.
2026, get excited. There's gonna be some great things happening.
Yeah. So there is another thing that is kind of cool that you will be working on. Do you know what that is exactly?
Yeah. We've made some amazing partnerships. You know, over this, especially over this last year, 2025 has been an amazing year for collaboration, community, and partnerships. One that we truly value the most is where I'm at right now, of Ocean Studios.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah, so we've been able to do some great things, and it's just in alignment with our vision, what we have for our clients, and it's been it's been a blessing to, you know, I don't know how much detail do you want to give, but there's
Yeah.
something important coming up for all of our audiences to help level up their brand and their presence.
Yeah, that's where I was headed with that. We can share a little bit about what that is and what we're going to be doing with that. There's a lot of really cool things that I feel like is going to be crushing it in 2026. A lot of really great things, but we can talk about the smaller one.
We'll give them the name. Can we give them the name?
Sure. Why not?
All right. The Monetize Influence. What was it? The Monetize Influence Brand Mastery Workshop is going to be here at Evotion Studios live. You guys are going to be able to come into the studio and not only hear us, but actually help you implement this into your own brand, right? We're going to show you those frameworks we talked about. We're going to create content. We're going to give you the insights. All the stuff that Jet tries to get out of me in interviews and he wants to give the sauce right there, we're going to give it live here in the studio and help you when you walk out this room, you're leaving with the things that you need to implement into a brand and actually see the results live. Not just fluff, not theory. You're going to leave with the actual implementable strategies to help get you the results and really take your brand to the next level.
Yeah. What are you most excited about for 2026?
Oh, everything, man. Just life. One of the things that I put as a focus for 2025, right, which I think is going to flow over into 2026, is I would always think so much of like, I have to map out the next year, the next 6 months, the next 3 months, the next 5 years, so forth. And what I really found value in this year and what I'm really, looking forward to doubling down on next year is just living presently in the moment, walking in purpose and walking with faith. Like I feel like I'm in a moment right now where I'm such in alignment with my purpose and blindly walking with faith within that purpose that big things that are bigger than I could even imagine. I plan it to be like this and it starts ending up to come out like this, right? So I'm just excited about 2026 being much bigger than I could even imagine, much bigger than I could, guess or predict here on the show.
Yeah. I mean, I'm having goosebumps already thinking about what's gonna go
it's
down
hard.
next year.
You try not to give too much. Like, I'm saying, we're not supposed to announce that yet. But it's like, there's so many great things that are coming into the year. I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. I think that it's been a really awesome conversation. And this was just a little bit of taste of kind of some of the other things that we're going to be working on. Again, this was like really completely unprepared. Like we wanted to come and share a little bit and give you some value. And obviously, a couple episodes back, I said that I was going to be buying some golden mic,
or like a golden mic trophy, like a award.
Those ones that kind of look like awards.
Yeah.
So I can just kind of like, when somebody says something super incredible, that I maybe give them one.
Okay.
If I had 8 of them over here on the desk, you probably would have gotten all of them. So you shared so much value, and I cannot wait for when we do our workshop and also some of the other bigger events that we're gonna probably be doing. That's gonna be incorporating a bunch of really great talents here in Tampa Bay. It's gonna be fantastic, and I can't wait for the next Brand Social event. It was so much fun, man. So it was so awesome.
I think, you know what? To answer your question, you know what I'm most excited about for 2026? I'm excited that I feel like 2026 is going to be the year where people start to walk within their genuine, like in their genuine self, be them genuine self and live their true story. Right. I feel like 2026 is going to be the year where it's no longer the rented cars or the, hey, faking the fluff. People are going to start to be comfortable. And I'm excited that we're going to be the ones pioneering that path to show them that, hey, there is value within you being your authentic self. That's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's awesome. And I think it's already kind of starting happening.
Messing up, doing a 30-minute laughing session in the middle of a podcast and keeping it rolling. Like, I'm excited for truly the authentic stories that we're going to hear.
Yeah.
I think the world will be a much more interesting place if people just start to tell their authentic true story.
Absolutely. So what would be your biggest advice that you would give to somebody watching this video around branding?
Around branding. My biggest advice around branding, ironically, is not about brand at all. And it's blind faith translates into reality. It's one of my favorite quotes. If you truly believe that something's going to happen and you want your brand to be successful, you want to add value to your market, whatever it is that you want to happen, if you truly believe in it and you start working and walking in that direction, it's inevitable that you're going to reach your destination. No matter how impossible it seems, if you go in that direction and you don't stop until you hit where you're going, like that's the best thing that you can do. Just believe that there's nothing that can stop you. Hey, face every obstacle, every challenge, face first and keep going. And I can't wait for you to see the results.
Yeah. What is the biggest misconception that you see that people have out there around branding?
The biggest misconception is that they have to create a brand. They're like, I have to, my graphics not right. I have to look this or like, right. They try to build up this story or this persona that's not them because they think that my story's not good enough. My apartment's not good enough, so I can't film here. Like this is not good enough. That's not good enough. That's the biggest misconception. I mean, you look at a lot of these young guys, right? Look at these streamers, look at Kai and all the other ones. Their setups are nothing, was not something amazing, you know, like people just being their true self, turn on a camera and just started speaking, you're gonna find your audience. So I think the biggest misconception is like, I'm not gonna start because I'm not ready or I'm not good enough or I need to create this brand. You just need to discover the brand that's already there within you.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, really well put, and thank you for sharing that. So for anybody that is watching this that wants to get a hold of Visionary Vega,
Yeah.
how can they do that?
You can stop by the studio and visit That So Fire. I'm just joking. No, for real. Stop by the studio because we're gonna be spending a lot of time here. But Visionary Vega on Instagram. That's where I spend most of my time. Jose Vega. I think it says Jose Vega / Visionary Vega on LinkedIn. But Instagram and LinkedIn is where you'll find me. And yeah, visionaryvega.com.
I love it.
Yeah.
Final question. What is the $1 million advice that you would give to somebody watching this if they want to take over the world?
You want to take over the world. If you want to take over the world and you want to have the most valuable brand in the world, DM Visionary Vega so that way you can understand the frameworks that are brought to you by 11 Agency, and we can show you the value that's already there in your story and how to live a life that is truly one of one.
Boom. There you have it. Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Brother, it's such a pleasure sitting down here with you, laugh with you, share with you.
Likewise,
and like
bro.
it's by the way, I'm gonna put that on camera.
Do you feel a little bit more attractive?
No, I'm not ugly anymore.
There we go.
Yeah. But thank you for being such a giver and for being such an amazing human being.
Thank you.
And all the people that, like, I don't know how many times that I brought you up on conversation recently because of, you know, the men that you are, you're such a great connector. You always kind of lead with value first instead of like, you know, being one of those people that take and take and take. So thank you for being who you are. And I want to put that on camera and
Thank you.
kind of, you know, saying that, like, even I was just having a conversation with my wife the other day and was telling her how great you are. And she said, I like Vega. Literally, I
That's
like
awesome.
Vega. I haven't met him yet and I like him. And typically she's like somebody that is very hard to win over.
That's awesome.
So, bro, keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
And thanks for keep being the #1 branding
Consultant
agency strategist here in the Tampa Bay.
Absolutely.
I know we're going to be taking over
The world
soon. The world. Let's go, baby.
All right, let's get it, brother.
Awesome.
That was
There
fire.
you have it.
You see? There we go.
There you have it. It was Visionary Vega, everybody. Let's go. That's so fire.
So fire.
Let's go.
I'm telling you, that lives rent free in my head now.